Hello, welcome to the Warrior's Way. My name is Arno Ilgner. The lesson today is what's the opposite of knowledge? And it comes from a TED talk that Pico Iyer gave a few years ago. That's Iyer is his last name. The title of his talk was called The Beauty of What You'll Never Know. The Beauty of What You'll Never Know. And in it, he comes to an insight and he says that he knows far less now than he thought he knew 30 years ago. So think about that. 30 years of studying, developing knowledge. Now he's come to the realization that he knows far less now than he thought he knew 30 years ago. So the thinking of what he knew is what he's pointing to. Like we have this need to know, to be certain about the world around us. And so this insight that he has means that the more we know, the more we realize how little we actually do know. Okay, so in other words, as our awareness expands, into the wider world beyond our own individual self, we realize how much more there is to know out there. Whereas before, when we develop this sort of capsule or bubble around us, we have really distinct boundaries around that, and we think we know exactly what our world is. No, we think we know more than we actually do. And this points to what Socrates said. When the oracle at Delphi, at the Temple of Apollo, proclaimed Socrates to be the wisest man in Athens, his response to that was, I'm only the wisest to the degree that I know that I don't know. Okay, so he knows that he needs to be skeptical. He needs to remain open and not just latch on to this label of being the wisest person. So wisdom is a little paradoxical that way. So ignorance isn't the opposite of knowledge. Ignorance and knowledge are on the same continuum, you might say. As you learn more, ignorance can shift into knowing, into knowledge. But what is the opposite of knowledge is mystery. Knowledge is all about the things that we actually can do, like scientifically, to investigate the world, create this kind of technology. That's knowledge. We're developing what we actually can know about the world. But the opposite of that is all of this other aspect of the world around us that's mysterious, that is beyond our ability to know. For example, you fall in love with your partner. You don't really know why you fell in love or what that whole dynamic is all about. It's mysterious. You have the death of a family member or a loved one, a friend. You don't really know how to integrate that completely into your new shifting perspective of what life is all about. It's mysterious. Has mysterious elements. Or you have an argument with your partner and they're just not making sense. You don't really know what they mean or understand how to integrate it into the way you understand the world. It's mysterious, has these mysterious elements when two people come together with different views and try to understand each other. These are mysterious elements that have a certain degree of unknown to that you'll never know. So when we come up against the mystery like this, it asks us to look inside, to examine, like Socrates would say, our life in the context of the world around us. Like what is really are a truer reality than this limited ego identity self that we tend to create, that sort of pulls us and separates us from the world around us, giving us those definitive boundaries. So the mystery helps us to wake us up, say, hey, look inside, create some doubt, be willing to say, I don't know, stay open and curious to the world around you. Then we can expand awareness and we can actually know more, but we can also respect that which we cannot know. So knowledge helps us do things. It helps create technology like this. It helps us take action in the world. But the mystery helps us just be in that world or in that doing. To be present for how life is unfolding without having to have that certainty all the time about this is the way it is. So mystery, it keeps our attention expanding. Knowledge can kind of interfere. The mind can interfere with awareness expanding like that. It wants to know. Daniel Kahneman wrote an interesting book recently, a few years ago, called Thinking Fast and Slow. And the insight that he came to not so much in that book, but in his 60 years of studying human behavior that Pico Iyer references, is that human beings have an unlimited ability to ignore their ignorance. Okay, we have an unlimited ability to ignore our ignorance. Not a very flattering statement, but it's a caution, to challenge what we think we know. And Pico Iyer, in his TED Talk, he says that toward the end, that we're only as strong as our ability to surrender. Okay. So in this context, as surrendering, really in a larger context, as surrendering to something larger, whatever we conceive that to be. In a simple context for that, it's surrendering our limited understanding of reality to something larger, like this inextricable, interrelated, interconnected world around us. Like finding a way to understand ourselves in the context of that. Surrendering to that so that we can actually be curious to investigate it instead of having that certainty keeping us in our shells. Look around you. The world is mysterious, the sun rising and setting, the seasons, that interaction between these seemingly parts of people and animals and the trees and wind and weather, all of this interacting together in one inextricable, interrelated whole. That's mysterious, and really how that is all coming together and working. And yeah, we can dig into it and get a lot of knowledge along the way, but this still has those mysterious elements. So as a parting thought for this lesson, think of it this way. Knowledge is a priceless gift. Knowledge is a priceless gift. But the illusion of knowledge is more dangerous than ignorance. The illusion of knowledge is more dangerous than ignorance. Okay? Thinking we know is more dangerous than just not knowing. At least with not knowing, you stay open. Thinking you know, imposing those views on other people that are illusory, at least some elements of it are illusory, is more dangerous than just not knowing, than ignorance. So for a practice tip, You can practice saying, I don't know, asking more questions. If people are sharing their opinion about something, you can say, well, tell me more. I don't understand that. What do you mean? Soften that shell, that defensive shell around you, so that you can remain open and humble and investigate the reality around you and then also within you. So you can go to warriorsway.com and check out the links for the TED Talk. You can also check out our books and courses and reach out to us if you'd like to investigate the Warriors Way approach to mental training. Thank you.